My girlfriend said, "I just need space, don't text me for a while." 3 days later, I got photos of her relaxing on a beach with her boss's hands on her waist. I didn't reply to her messages, but her boss's wife did. My girlfriend texted me one night out of nowhere. "I just need some space. Please don't text me for a while." We hadn't fought. There wasn't any drama. Things had just been a little distant lately, but nothing serious. I asked if something was wrong. She said, "I just need to think," so I gave her space. I didn't text, didn't call, didn't ask questions. 3 days later, I got a message from a friend who lives near the beach town. Mia said she was going to for some time alone. He sent me a few photos taken from a distance. In them, Mia was walking barefoot on the beach, holding a drink, smiling. Next to her was her boss. His hand was around her waist. The message just said, "Hey man, I wasn't sure if I should send this, but I thought you'd want to know." I stared at the photos for a minute and sat back. She said she needed space. I guess I know what that meant now. Mia and I had been together for almost 2 years, living together for one. She was smart, funny, and easy to be around. We clicked fast. Things were mostly good between us, just normal couple stuff. She worked in marketing at a mid-sized company and loved her job. Or at least she loved talking about it, especially her boss. At first I didn't think much of it. She'd say things like, "He's such a good leader," or "He really gets people," or "He's the kind of boss who inspires you." I figured she was just motivated. Everyone has someone they look up to at work. But after a while it started to sound different. She mentioned her boss almost every day, how funny or brilliant he was. One night she showed me a picture from a company event, him standing right behind her in a group photo. I half joked, "You talk about this guy more than you talk about me." She laughed and said, "Don't be jealous, he's married." It didn't really help. After that, little things started to bother me. She started dressing up more for work. New outfits, a stronger perfume, new lipstick. When I teased her about it, she said, "It's a client thing. We're meeting bigger accounts now." Could have been true, but something in my gut didn't buy it. Then came the overtime. She started working late, ignoring calls, saying she was in meetings. I told myself not to be paranoid. She'd been loyal before. Why wouldn't she be now? A week before the retreat, she told me she might skip it and just take a few days off by herself near the coast. Said her boss wanted everyone to relax after a stressful quarter. I asked where, and she said some coastal town 2 hours away. She didn't seem that excited, just casual, so I didn't think much of it. But a few days before that trip, I noticed something. She started getting defensive. Any small question about her schedule turned into a mini-argument. I'd ask, "What time are you heading out tomorrow?" She'd snap, "Why do you always have to keep tabs on me?" That's not how she used to talk to me. Then she sent me that text out of nowhere. "I just need some space. Please don't text me for a while." It came on a random Tuesday night. I was making dinner when it popped up. I read it twice, maybe 3 times. No explanation, no argument before it. Just distance, like someone flipping a switch, I called her. No answer. Then she replied a few minutes later, "I'm okay. I just need to think. I'm staying with a friend for a bit." That was it. I didn't want to push. If she wanted time, she'd get it. So I respected it. I didn't text. I didn't show up anywhere. The first night felt strange. The apartment was just too quiet. The second night, I caught myself checking my phone every few minutes. By the third day, I started to accept that this was probably her way of ending things. Then, that evening, I got a message from my old college friend, Jason. He lives near that same coastal town. His message said, "Hey man, I'm sorry if this is weird, but isn't this your girlfriend?" He attached 2 photos taken from a distance, probably from his hotel balcony or the bar. There was Mia, wearing a sundress, holding a drink, walking barefoot in the sand. Next to her was her boss. His hand was on her waist like he'd done it 100 times. Jason added, "Didn't want to assume anything, but I saw them earlier today and thought you should know." I stared at the photos for a long time. The longer I looked, the more everything lined up. The late meetings, the team retreat, the new perfume, the sudden need for space. It all made perfect sense now. I didn't text her. I didn't even reply to Jason right away. I just sat there completely quiet, listening to the sound of the fridge and the clock ticking. That was the first time I realized I wasn't sad anymore. Just done. I sat there for a while just staring at those photos. It didn't even feel real yet. I zoomed in a few times, not because I needed proof, I just needed to convince myself it was really her. Same bracelet on her wrist, same laugh I'd seen 100 times, same man she said was just her boss. I didn't throw my phone. I didn't cry. I just sat in silence. At one point I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it felt ridiculous. All the signs were there, and I'd ignored every single one. For a few hours I didn't do anything. I made coffee, scrolled through my phone, stared at the wall. I didn't want to act out of anger, so I wanted to be sure of what I was doing. Around midnight I called Jason. He picked up right away. "Man, I'm sorry," he said immediately. I almost didn't send them. I told him it was fine. I wasn't mad at him. I just asked one question. Was it just the two of them? He said he didn't see anyone else with them, just the two of them walking like a couple. That confirmed it. After we hung up, I sat there thinking about what to do. The obvious move would have been to text her, confront her, demand an explanation. But what was the point? She'd lie, cry, deflect, and the usual cycle. I'd heard enough of her stories. I thought about calling her boss too, but again, pointless. The guy clearly didn't care about boundaries. I remembered she once said his wife sometimes visited the office. Super sweet, she'd called her. And that's when it clicked. I looked him up and found his wife's Facebook. His profile was mostly private, but his wife's wasn't. Her page had pictures of their 2 kids, a dog, family vacations, the kind of stuff that just hits harder when you know what's really going on. I didn't want to be cruel. I didn't want to ruin someone's life for no reason. But she deserved to know what was happening behind her back, so I wrote a short message. Simple, direct. No insults, no drama. "Hi, I'm really sorry to send this. I think you should see these photos. Your husband and my girlfriend were together at Inamov Beach. These were taken by a friend of mine earlier this week. I don't know what you want to do with them, but I thought you should know." I attached the 2 pictures and hit send. That was it. No threats, no extra messages. I just closed my laptop and went to bed. The next day I had a couple of missed calls, one from an unknown number and one from Mia. By the following day, Jason said things were already blowing up at the resort. I didn't answer either. A few hours later, Jason texted again, "Bro, people are saying your girlfriend and her boss were arguing at the resort parking lot. Apparently the wife had received my message. And from the sound of it, she didn't take it quietly. I didn't feel good about it. I wasn't celebrating. I just felt done. Like I'd finally finished a long, stupid chapter of my life. That evening, Mia finally texted me. "We need to talk, no apology." No explanation, just that. I didn't respond. A few hours later, "I know you saw something, but it's not what you think." I put my phone down and let the message sit there. Then came another. "Please just let me explain when I get back. I didn't cheat on you." That one actually made me laugh. If standing on a beach with your boss's hands around your waist isn't cheating, I don't know what is. I didn't answer. A few days later, she showed up at the apartment. I heard the key turn, then stop. I'd forgotten she still had one, but the locks were changed. She knocked. "Ryan, what the hell?" "My key isn't working," she said through the door. I didn't answer right away. Then I said, calm as possible, "Yeah, I changed the locks." Her tone shifted fast, from confused to angry. "You changed the locks? Are you serious? What is wrong with you?" "You asked for space," I said. "So I gave it to you." She went quiet for a second, then said, "Ryan, it's not what you think. I just needed to get away for a few days. We were in the same area, that's all." "Right," I said. "And his hand just accidentally landed on your waist?" Silence. Then the sound of her trying not to cry. "Can we please just talk about this?" "No," I said. "We're done talking." She stayed outside for another few minutes, knocking and mumbling, but I didn't open the door again. When she finally left, I felt the quiet settle over the apartment, heavy but peaceful. That night I sat on the couch and looked at my phone. No messages from Jason, no calls from her. Just silence. The next day was quiet. I went to work, came home, made dinner. No calls, no messages, just silence. Then, around 9 p.m., I got an email. Not from Mia, from a name I didn't recognize. It was his wife. The subject line just said, "Thank you." The message was short. "I appreciate you sending those photos. I had my suspicions for months, but no proof. You didn't owe me anything, but you helped me see things clearly. I'm sorry you had to go through it too. That was it. No anger, no questions. Just calm, like she'd already accepted what happened. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. The next few days were weird. I started getting random calls from unknown numbers, which I ignored. Then I got one text from Mia. You ruined everything. I stared at it for a while. Everything meaning what? Her secret vacation? Her career? Her image? I didn't answer. Later that evening, a mutual friend called me. He worked in the same company as Mia. He said, dude, I don't know what happened, but it's a mess here. HR's involved. The boss's wife called the office and people are freaking out. I didn't say much, just, yeah, I heard. Apparently the wife had confronted her husband at home and things got loud. Neighbors heard. The next morning, the wife emailed HR with screenshots of the photos and some texts she found later. Word spread fast. The boss was put on leave while they investigated inappropriate conduct. As for Mia, she tried to downplay it. Told co-workers she was helping plan a work trip and that the photos were taken out of context. But everyone already knew. Once something like that circulates, there's no putting it back. A week later, she showed up at the apartment again. This time she didn't knock. She just sat outside the door. I saw her through the peephole, sitting on the floor with her phone in her hands. After a few minutes, she knocked softly and said, "Can we please talk? I just need to explain what happened." I opened the door halfway but didn't take off the chain. She looked tired. Hair messy, no makeup, eyes puffy. "There's nothing to explain, Mia," I said. She started crying, but quietly, not dramatic. It wasn't supposed to happen. We were just talking about work, and one thing led to another. "I didn't mean to hurt you." I said. "You didn't mean to hurt me, but you did it anyway." She looked down. "He told me he was leaving his wife." I believed him. I almost laughed. "Did he leave her?" She didn't answer. She didn't have to. After a long pause, she said, "I lost my job." I didn't respond. I wasn't happy about it, but I couldn't feel sorry either. Actions have consequences. Then she said, "Can I just come inside and grab a few things?" "Your stuff's already packed," I said. "I'll bring it out." She tried to look me in the eyes. "You sent the photos to her, didn't you?" I said, "Yeah." Her face changed, a mix of anger and disbelief. "Why would you do that?" "Because she deserved to know," I said. "Same as I did." She said, "You ruined both our lives." I told her, "No, you did that yourself." I closed the door and locked it. She didn't knock again. A few minutes later, I heard her car start and drive off. The next day, my buddy from her office texted again. A few weeks later, my buddy told me the boss had resigned. His wife filed for divorce soon after, and Mia's department quietly restructured. Translation, she got fired. A week later, I got one more message, this time from his wife again. She wrote, "Just wanted to say thank you again. He's moving out next week. I'm focusing on my kids now. I hope you're okay. Take care of yourself." I just replied, "You too." That was it. No more drama, no more noise. Just quiet. It's funny. People think revenge is loud. That it's yelling, breaking things, posting screenshots. But sometimes it's just silence. Letting the truth do the work for you. After that last message from his wife, things finally went quiet. No more calls or texts. Just quiet. I didn't block Mia right away. I just stopped replying. A few days later, she got the hint. Her name moved lower and lower in my inbox until it was out of sight. For the first time in months, my apartment felt peaceful. It was strange at first, cooking dinner for one, watching TV alone, sleeping without someone's hair in my face. But the silence started to feel good. I rearranged a few things, took down our old pictures, donated the extra stuff she'd left behind. It wasn't angry or symbolic. It was just part of moving forward. Some mutual friends reached out. A few had already heard what happened. Some tried to stay neutral. Others quietly said they weren't surprised. One even said, "Honestly, you handled it better than I would have. I didn't want to talk about it much. There wasn't really anything to say." She cheated. I found out. I told the truth. Everything else just played out from there. A couple of weeks later, I went through my phone and deleted her photos. Not out of spite. I just didn't want them taking up space anymore. She wanted space, remember? She could keep it. It's weird how fast you stop missing someone once you see who they really are. For a while I'd thought about what I'd say if she ever came back and apologized for real. Something deep, maybe even forgiving. But when I pictured it, there wasn't anger left. Just nothing. The thing about being lied to isn't just the betrayal. It's how it makes you question your own instincts. Every little doubt you brushed aside suddenly looks obvious in hindsight. You feel stupid for trusting, but also proud that you didn't let it keep going once you knew. One evening, about a month later, I got a random message from Jason again, the friend who sent me the photos. He said, "Man, just checking in. You doing okay?" I told him I was fine, and I meant it. He mentioned that he'd heard the boss moved out of state to start fresh. Mia apparently went back to her parents' place. I didn't ask for details. Didn't need them. That night I sat on the balcony with a beer and thought about the whole thing from start to finish, how normal everything had seemed and how fast it all fell apart. It's not like I wanted revenge. I just didn't want to be a fool anymore. Sometimes I think about when I sent that message to his wife. I didn't do it out of anger. I did it because it was the only honest thing left to do. Everyone deserved to know who they were really dealing with, and in the end that honesty did what it needed to do. It ended everything that wasn't supposed to last. Life went on. Work got busier. I started seeing friends again, going out more, sleeping better. There's something freeing about not wondering where someone is, or who they're texting, or if late meeting actually means late meeting. A few months later, I got a new couch and repainted the living room. Not for any symbolic reason. It just felt good to make the space mine again. People think revenge has to be loud or dramatic, but the best kind, the one that really sticks, is quiet. It's when you walk away and let someone's own actions burn everything down for them. That's what this was. She asked for space. I gave it to her. More than she ever wanted, and honestly, that's the cleanest ending I could have hoped for.